Hello, this is Arcades, and welcome to another update video here on Stormworks Build and Rescue. And yeah, so devs gave us something nice, something that's been wanted for a long time, something that isn't in my realm of fun, but I'm still going to cover it, and I have some interesting things that I've come across. Some preliminary testing. We've got sails, and added keels too. So, yeah, so hope you like what you watch, hope you enjoy what you see. If you do, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, helps out the channel immensely, and yeah, let's get into this. Okay, I guess first, the obligatory notes. Okay, so, we have version 1.14.0, the Sailing Major Update. Dear Stormworks, the Sailing Major Update is out now. Vehicles with sails are now possible with the new sail anchors. Link 4 anchors together with ropes and generate the sail in the style of Stormworks. These new parts are modular, so players can use and arrange them as they wish to create huge varieties of setups, styles, and creations. The sails will mechanically respond to the wind with various physical effects, including wing-type effect with this when the sail cuts through the wind at a fine angle. In our testing, sailboats can travel at the top end of realistic speeds in moderate wind. Keels have been added as a companion component to sails to help balance ships and keep masts upright despite the wind force pressing on sails. New flags are available in multiple sizes and can have their patterns set in the properties. Check out the new sailboat preset for an overview of the setup of a working boat. As in real life, an efficient sailing boat design is finely tuned and it's easy to create a poorly balanced or proportioned vessel. And many real-world sailing boat designs considerations will come into play. We look forward to your feedback on this new update. Much love, the devs. And then blah blah blah. Alright. Feature: sails, flags, and keels. Sails can be formed with 4 sail anchors in a square, similar to fishing nets. The logic nodes on the sail anchors allow the sail to dynamically adjust its size to fit the anchor positions. A keel is required to balance the rotational forces of the sails on the boat. Flags come with a large variety of preset options and are texture driven, so can be overridden by a mod. Alright. So, we got the update message. I wasn't very accurate on the reading and a few spots, but, you know, everything's great. So, overall, let's take a look at the parts that they added. So, main things they added are these anchor pieces. You can find it by looking up sail, and it's right there. You'll find the sail anchor. An anchor point for sail. Draw a rope length between four sail anchors in a loop to form a sail. Sail will convert force from the wind to the direction of the sail facing. The sail force is strongest when fully facing the wind to act as a parachute, but also has a strong force when facing slightly off a right angle from the wind to act as a wing. A keel is recommended for sailboats to apply sail forces in a useful direction. Okay, and has mass of 3, has an on-off node for take in-out sails, and sail node for the rope. Pretty straightforward. Now, there is also the keels. I wish they listed this under sail as well. As you can see, they're right here. You got a small, medium, and large. Now, the thing to note about these... Alright. Small keel. A small boat keel used for sailing. The keel resists rolling forces when submerged, helping to keep a boat upright and stable. The keel also resists lateral sliding forces, causing the majority of a boat's movement to be in the direction of the keel axis. When combined with the force provided by a sail, this allows a sailboat to move forward in a crosswind or even upwind. Medium, pretty much the same thing. Yep. So, just describing the name differently. medium boat keel, small boat keel, large boat keel. Okay, yeah. And then finally, they said they added a flag. We have flag small, medium, large. And on the flags, you can click on them. You get colors. And then we got different options for them. Nations, pride, community, and oh, shipping. This is cool. So they got each of those going there. All right, so that's pretty cool. What do they got here? Basil, boat, pipe, plane. Huh. So, alrighty. Now, however, you notice the flags kind of doesn't look like they're there. However, if you give it a little bit of a tilt, they do show up. Otherwise, when they go straight up, they just seemingly disappear. So keep that in mind with the flags. And otherwise, let's start talking about the sails. Alright, so in here, I made a quick contraption to kind of simulate like a mast on a ship type deal. So I've got some sliders here. And we have this bar to mount the anchors on. As you see, I created a square here. This winch controls that anchor point, so that's just a rope connection. But so these 4 points create the sail. Now, under normal circumstances, when you want to move the thing up or down, okay, so normally, if you want to, you need the connection for the take in and out for the sail if you want the sail to retract as you're moving it up and down. Otherwise, if you move it up and down without that activated, the thing just bunches up. The reverse is also true for taking the sail down, that if you take it down, you know, try to extend it without activating the take in out sail, it just comes to a stop. And you see the rope kept going on its own. Now I'm going to take these and hook them up to these anchor points right there. So that way, when the appropriate button is pressed, it will allow the fabric to get retracted in and out. So, bring this up. As you can see, the sail is getting bigger. It has that droop, but it's still is getting shorter. And to prove it, that is shorter than what I spawned it with. So when I go to hit down, it goes down on its own. And once again, I detach this. You can see it's already bigger than it was when I spawned it. Yeah, and that's the basic gist of it. So you just need to make sure you have the take in and out sails active whenever you go to move any of the anchor points on your systems, and the thing will match the size. Now, about the keels, however. Now, I haven't done a lot of testing on their forces yet, but in terms of their weight, here's the thing. So we were looking at it earlier. The big one here has a mass of 2,000. And as you can see with the frame I built around it, when I got done calculating the number of the volume, in other words, the amount of space it takes up to the mass. So for example, hold on a second. So a weight block is 10 mass for 1x1. The battle cannon's extension is 40 for 1x3. So that means this the battle cannon's extension per block is greater than this. So, you know, it's 40 at the size of 3 blocks. So 40 divided by 3 is a little over, you know, 10.33 repeating, or 13.33 repeating. Mass per voxel taken. I mean, you could argue about the reserve spaces, but the point is that these parts, these extension pieces, are heavier per block than this. This, after I was done calculating, is lighter than the same area built of weight blocks, but it is heavier than this same area built out of normal blocks. So it's somewhere in the middle just on mass alone. So the forces, so it's not all weight based, and this weight alone would be helpful. I want to do more testing on these for other ships, because for me, this is the big part out of this whole thing that I was really impressed about, that I was really looking forward to. So I still need to do more testing on it, see how much it will actually counteract stuff, and it might be its own little device for counteracting rolls on ships, just in general. Not just for sailboats, but in general. So that'll be testing in the future, but as far as weight goes, it's not as heavy as the same thing as just a mass of weight blocks, but it is heavier than just a group of regular blocks, one mass blocks. So, now one other thing to show you real quick. We have, also since I have it out, I'm just going to yank up the wind a bit. Now, as you can see, we've got enough force, it's causing this to slide around. And at some point, we stopped moving. So the more surface area, the more this will actually act on what's attached to. So you can actually slow down or speed up something on the mechanical force with the wind. Fuck, oh, I must be like right out of range. By making the surface area larger or smaller. Okay, so as a test, something else I wanted to look at was the braking ability of the sails. In other words, to be used as a parachute. So it's a stopping ability in general. Now, I have no wind going right now, as you can see, 0% wind. So all this is going to be just basically how well it resists movement due to velocity. So I've got two boxes here. they have different testing equipment in them. Right now, this one is going to be our control with no braking mechanisms on it. Not even the brakes. All it has is a singular medium rocket motor on there that fires off and propels us down the track. And that's all it does. And what we're seeing is the amount of distance. Now, I've done this test a few times, so after a certain point, I'm just going to pull it back. But I want you to see just how far it can go. And as you can see, we're making it past this first bend, past there. And this is about as far as it gets. Especially with these other ones that are doing the brakes and such. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take this back. Okay, so here the other box has a sail put right on the back. So we're going to take this and make a quick demonstration with it. Just how the sail just works straight up. Now, as you can see, it's billowing out. And as it gets slower, it doesn't billow out near as much. And we made it just before those signals right there. And that's just by having the sail installed in the first place. Now, to make a comparison, I have a parachute installed on this one. I'm going to go ahead and attach the logic for this. And we're going to attach logic for this. So what's going to happen is after 10 seconds, this will deploy the parachute, and this will actually activate the sail release, the in and out sail release. So allow it to billow bigger if it can. So first we're going to do this one here. So remember, after 10 seconds, it's going to shoot out, activate the parachute, and we'll see the stopping distance. Alright, now we're going to grab the other one. Now, as you can see, there's a sail anchor. It has billowed out. And oh, it's this one up here. Yeah, you see, it has been released, but now here's the catch. Obviously, this one has come much shorter than the other one, but the other one was moving full speed the entire time until the parachute came out, and then came to a stop. Whereas in this case, this one was actually fighting its sail the entire time, and when it released, it didn't actually change the shape because there was nothing pulling on the sail to increase its size to create a greater area. So basically, it did nothing. So in order to get the billowing bigger, you need something to pull on it. However, there is something you have to be careful of if you were to try to do something like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab the rope logic, and we are going to attach the sails to a sub-body that can be dragged out. So as you can see, they're sitting there as is. As you can see, it got pulled out farther. And we're coming out significantly farther than the original sheet test. Now, what was going on there? Now, if you remember in the notes, they said that the angle will create different effects. So what it is that even though I had these multiple segments and allowed it to pull the wing out, the sail out to create a bigger surface area, because of its angle, it was grabbing less in relative direction to its movement. So because the actual angle was shallower than the movement, than the angle of movement. So in other words, the reason why the first one stopped so fast is because it was perpendicular to the movement. Straight up and down, so to speak. At a T, or 90 degrees to the movement. When I went to add these, this now creates a actual 45 degree angle to start with, and when it releases, it made that angle even more shallower. So as effective as the stop went down. So the angle of the sail in relationship to its movement determines its ability to actually be a brake or a mechanical force to move forward. And this is something they did explain in the notes. So, keep this in mind with this stuff. So, yeah. That's pretty much about it. Alright, so we took a look at the new sales update. Took a look at how to get the basic operation. Set up a basic one here. Threw a little wind into it. Looked at the keels. I plan to go over them more later. I definitely still need to experiment with them more, because I think they have some properties that you can't just go over real quick. And then we did some testing on using the sails as a brake and their effectiveness. So, quick, just quick throw off experiment. So, anyways, hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed watch. If you did, you know the deal, you know the spiel. This is Arcades signing out. Have yourself a good day. Whee!